agencies have a bad reputation. They always recommend you to increase the budget. Ads is not the main channel.
Multiplying a founder's potential.
I call them scale-ups. Product is great and people come to me. Maybe it's annoying for someone, maybe for my client. AI tells us something strange.
Because if your knowledge and skills is 0, multiplied by even 1 million, it still gives 0. Human touch is new luxury.
I was terrified. It was very hard for me to speak English publicly. I gained so much confidence that I even can do a podcast right now.
Hi, Anastasia here. Welcome to Much Watch Podcast. Here we explore how leaders, founders, and experts think, decide, and build, and how their communication and mindset shape their path. And I'm happy to introduce our guest, Renata Zinnatullina. Hi, Renata. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you for having me today.
Renata, can you tell us a few words about yourself, please?
Yes, sure. I'm co-founder of a marketing agency called Hunch, and I'm also a fractional CMO for SaaS businesses. In our agency, we help founders spend less on marketing and gain more revenue. Our recent case is that with the same amount of marketing budget, we doubled down on revenue year to year.
Right, amazing. Now, before we dig into work, let me start with a personal question. Who are you? And looking back, what do you think shaped you as a person and as a professional?
Wow, that's a tough question. I would say that I am an entrepreneur right now, but I used to be a great specialist that always asked questions. Maybe it's annoying for someone, maybe for my clients, I don't know. And the reason why I ask so many questions, because I think my education influenced me a lot. I have a degree in philosophy, and every time on every lecture or seminar, our task always was ask questions, try to understand the meaning behind the words. Yeah, I think this influenced me the most. And every time I come to some project, I start asking questions because the phrase, this is how it works, doesn't work for me.
Okay, sounds like an unfair advantage to me. The degree in philosophy. I wonder if it's some kind of a trend because actually you're the second guest with a degree in philosophy. So,
Wow,
yeah,
that's cool.
really. But can you tell me more about what is it that you do?
I would say that we remove the ceiling that founders have at certain point of their growth. And when they come to certain stages, for example, they want to scale their business, we try to multiply their potential by doing the right marketing. We can provide you with a strategic level person and execution specialist without paying this crazy amount of money.
Sounds amazing. So, how do you achieve this amazing savings actually?
There is a concept of fractional specialists. And it's usually a little bit hard to explain because part-time specialist doesn't sound selling. It sounds like just a contractor. But in my opinion, fractional specialist, and for example, in my case, this is a fractional CMO, is this strategic person who has this unfair advantage of working with multiple clients, with multiple companies, by seeing what works and what not. And you can hire it at fraction of the cost because you only pay maybe a third of what you usually pay for an in-house C-level manager.
So basically you can save up to 3 times when you hire fractional
Yes.
CMO. All right, let me just summarize. So you are a marketing agency who can provide a fractional CMO for fast-growing businesses.
Yes, I would elaborate here a little bit because I want to explain the difference between traditional agencies because agencies have a bad reputation. They only care about big budgets because they get commission from it or usually take some percentage from the budget. And that's why if you don't have a huge budget or you have an unknown brand, usually their specialists, they don't really care or they care little of what's happening with your business. And their main goal is to increase the budget. We have totally different approach. We don't really care about advertising budget. Ads is not the main channel most of the times. How we approach it, we first look at your business and we try to understand what audience you have, what is your unique selling proposition, how do you solve the problems, and only after that we understand which channels recommend to you. We truly care about business needs and about, this, I would say, the sustainable approach to marketing.
Hmm. You right now sound like you speak from first-hand experience. So, did you work in a traditional marketing agency?
Yes, I did. I know so much about how it works. For example, I know for a fact that one specialist can have, I don't know, up to 30 clients in traditional agencies. They don't have time to understand the business, understand goals, and truly care. They always recommend you to increase the budget. But how do you understand if they just want you to spend more or it's really necessary and it will really help you to achieve your goals? So in this case, we're on the founders or on the company's side of the table, and we help to understand that.
Can you give an example of one of your recent cases where you help some of your clients to achieve their marketing goals?
Yes, I have my favorite example. The founder had a goal that he wants to grow 10x. Before running any ads, we decided to dig deeper and we collected all the data that was available to us. We made an analytics from scratch. And actually, we found out that from 17,000 of active users in this product, only 6,000 are paid users. The free version is so good that people just stay without paying and they use it almost every day. If only 10% of these non paying users would convert to a paid plan, it will give around 50% more of revenue without any ads. This is how we first approached the situation. But the funny thing is that the founder decided not to change anything. And this was his call because he wanted to make the product valuable. And this is how he built this from the start. So users are getting value from this free version of the product. So we found the solution of growing their business.
Right, and you managed to make him 10x in revenue.
Not yet. Sometimes founders are not ready for it
Yeah,
themselves.
definitely. It might be scary. Big money, big game.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Now, let's talk a little bit about you. Now you are an entrepreneur, but have you seen yourself being one the whole life, or did it happen just recently that you realized that this is the path you want to follow?
Actually, I never wanted to be. I was always very comfortable as an employee with all its, stability, benefits. But at some point, I understand that it's a bit like I hit the ceiling. I always found this problem of not talking to the right people in the companies because when you work as an, I don't know, account manager, You usually talk with some marketing specialists inside companies or people who have their interests inside their companies. I understood that I want to talk with people who make decisions, and these are founders or CEOs of the companies. And that's how I understood that maybe I need to change something. I always thought that I lacked something. I was really comfortable where I was.
Got it. And what was the moment, the last straw, when you decided, no more, I'm ready to start up something of my own?
So there was a project. It was a client with DNA testing kits. We, as an agency, were responsible for ads. We tried different things, different channels, Meta ads, Google ads, some TikTok ads. We actually achieved the great results. So we grew the revenue 5 times with only ads. Every time I was trying to come up with some product marketing hypotheses and ideas, like maybe we need to change the way how we present the product, or we need to change something else. And every time, almost all my hypotheses were rejected because there was 100 different reasons why we shouldn't do it. So during this time, during these 2 years, I understood that if I'm not talking with people who decide things, usually everything that we do in channels, even though we're great, this doesn't work. This was, the point where I understood, okay, the problem actually was never ads.
Got it, got it. So you've mentioned several times that traditional marketing agencies are doing something wrong, right? They do not look into the client's business deeply to make informed decisions. And how do you achieve the opposite? What is it exactly that you do that makes you different?
We don't touch any channels before we understand 3 things about the business of our client. First of all, is what is the product or what is the service? What do we sell? We usually have onboarding and interviews. The second thing is to whom are we selling? And usually there is a problem because founders they say like, okay, this product helps everyone. Like, everyone can be our client. And of course, even though your product can be very broad, it can solve a lot of problems, you still need to focus on couple of audiences who you serve best. For example, 1 to 3 segments of audience. And the third thing is, where can we find this target audience? And we call it the strategic foundation because this is what it is. And only after that, when we have a clear understanding of the product, the audience, and where we can find them, we start doing things. Now, this is even more valuable than before, with hundreds of products emerging every day. You always fight for the same audience, and you need to narrow down and to refine your messaging, your positioning to those who you serve best.
Right, that sounds absolutely reasonable, but I keep wondering, why don't traditional marketing agencies do the same as you do? Because it's very, very straightforward to do this for a marketing agency, right? Explore the product, explore the audience, and then come up with a strategy.
It's hard to answer why, but my idea, this is very expensive and time consuming. And usually clients are not prepared to pay for this strategic research.
So it seems that your ideal customer is not a startup of early stage, pre-seed and seed. Am I right?
I call them scale ups who already have some clients, they already have revenue, and they just, stuck. So they have some channels, but they can't scale them. They don't understand how to do this 10x or 5x
Hmm.
or whatever
And
x. So
how much revenue do they make?
usually it's from 3 million RR to 5 million RR. Companies that earn over $10 million per year, they already have their own marketing teams.
Yeah, that would make sense to have an in-house team when you
Yeah.
make more than 10 million in a year. Got it. Thank you. So can you talk about some of the cases at all, some of the famous brands you worked with?
Because we work with small to medium businesses, they're not famous, but maybe they're famous in their circles. I don't know. Surprisingly, we work with the really technical products. For example, we have CRM connectors, security product, domain registers, something that is usually very technical. And when you try to understand how to promote a data connector to the Salesforce admins, this is something else.
So you've mentioned your focus is on technical companies. However, can you work with other industries?
We work mostly with B2B and mostly with products, but we sometimes work with different industries, and we even work with B2C products. But I would say that these are very rare cases because I truly believe that by collecting expertise in one niche, you gain shortcuts for your clients. And that's why we can be valuable to our clients, because we don't learn on them. We know what works and what not.
You've talked about multiplying a founder's potential. What does it exactly mean in practice?
I would say that if the company is on this stage that I've described, they already have clients, they already have traction, they know something, like they achieved this by doing something. Usually, they don't know exactly how they achieved it. They just say, I don't know, my product is great and people come to me. We try to understand what is so great about this product, how people come now, how they find this product, and we try to find ways to multiply this. If product is not great, we're rarely able to help because the homework of the founder is not done. So there is a layer of this responsibility of the founder to find this product market fit. Yeah, and after that, if this is solved, marketing is much easier than without this thing.
Right. And can you walk me through what actually happens when a founder starts working with you? What does this process look like in practice?
We have this stage that we call strategic foundation. We understand the product, the audience, and the channels. When we know what channels we want to develop, we gather a perfect setup, like a perfect team for this project. We also have heads of marketing, fractional CMOs, and specialists. And by combining them in the perfect way, we set up this team and we basically work as your in house team, but fractional.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about the team. So it's you and your co founder, right? And how
Right.
many people in total?
We have 7 people in the team.
Great. Tell me a little bit about your co founder. How do you two divide the work without stepping on each other's toes?
We are very different. I think that what makes us a great team. I am very methodical. I usually in the lead of projects, systems, like building some processes inside the team. And I'm also great with sales, apparently. And Luba, my co-founder, she's visionary, comes up with some crazy ideas. And by going back and forth, usually we come up with some great plan that is sustainable, I would say, and maybe like, more viable.
So we could say you complement each other.
Yes, totally. And I would add here that by working in the team, and when you have a co founder or you have a great team that you can discuss things and ideas, I think for me, this is the most valuable thing. That's why I want to work, and that's why I want to build this agency. My team helps me a lot doing decisions and making cool things.
So solopreneurship is definitely not your path, but being a co-founder.
Yes, totally. I can't imagine myself doing something alone. Having a co founder helps me to be more sure of what I'm doing and of the future of the company.
Mm-hmm. So speaking about hiring, you've got a relatively small team. How do you find your people? People who share your vision.
We have a process. Usually, we have like a vibe check, I would say. This is a very short 30 minutes interview when we just talk with this person and understand if something clicks, between us. And usually, this first interview does one of the founders. We really believe that we can work with this person and our team can work with this person. We give them like a test assignment and we have a final interview with people who are going to work with this person. When you have such a small team, it's very important that everyone complements each other.
Yeah, that's true. What's one thing that you're most focused on building or changing or achieving in the next 12 months at Digital Hunch?
It's hard to choose one. Right now, the most challenging part is to make our agency AI native. This means that we not only use AI as a co pilot, but we actually have all the processes running with the help of agents or connectors or some kind of automation. And we even have a special person in our team who does that, who helps us to automate things.
Great. Actually, I've got a very interesting question to you. So, you've mentioned that you're using AI agents for doing the work that you do. And my question is, can founders nowadays do marketing in-house with the help of these AI agents? Can they build this? Or there's some kind of a special sauce that only you guys can do?
Of course, they can if they have time and experience. If, for example, they have an experience in marketing or this is not their first company. But usually they just don't have time for this. They have million things to focus on. Operations, product, I don't know, team. In this case, we are the people who, of course, we use AI, but we know all the frameworks and we know if AI tells us something strange, for example,
Mm.
because not every person without the experience can sense that something is wrong
Mm-hmm.
because AI tends to agree with you on everything. If you don't have an eye for these tricks that AI something does, you can go to the wrong direction. Maybe this is not the way you're supposed to go.
Interesting. I actually heard it from my husband, a software developer, who claims that AI is a multiplier, which means that if you want to achieve really great results, you've got to be an expert in this field already.
Yes,
Because
it's true.
because if your knowledge and skills is zero, multiplied by even 1 million, it still gives zero.
This is true. I agree.
Right. I want to talk about the transition that you made in your career because you started off working in Russian speaking market, right? And
Right,
and now your agency mostly targets English speaking markets.
right.
Okay. And how did this transition go exactly? Did it just happen overnight? Were you always ready for this? Or did you do something to get yourself ready to this?
I'm still not ready for this. It didn't happen overnight. In my previous agency, they wanted to explore new markets and try to build their business with international clients. I was terrified, frankly speaking. I remember my first call. Luckily, it was not with the client. It was kind of interview. I was terrified. I couldn't do anything in this day before this call. I was really nervous and I thought that an incorrect word can somehow, influence their image of me. Of course, it went okay, but I couldn't listen to the recording because I thought that, oh, it was terrible. I have an accent, or I don't know, my grammar is not perfect. I decided that I need to gain confidence. And that's why I took the accent training course. I wanted to gain confidence and understood that if you know how to emphasize things, where to focus, how to use your intonation, and of course, some sounds, you sound like an expert, I would say. I don't know how to describe this feeling because I gained so much confidence that I even can do a podcast right now. And this is crazy.
That sounds so good. Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm really happy to hear that it helped you because we still, up to this day, show our clients your before and after. And that's how we do our sales. Just listen to Renata before and after. So thank you for the strong case that you helped us build. And I really love the healthy approach that you now practice. It's not about my English being not my native language, it's about the expert as I am being able to communicate confidently and clearly. So I wish,
Yes,
yes,
totally.
I wish everybody would understand that, but apparently this insight is not granted. You've got to live
No.
through a lot of experiences, maybe a couple of trainings to gain this confidence and to finally get this insight. All right, and also one more exciting thing about what you do is that you're actually hosting your own podcast. How did that happen?
This is crazy. And I still don't believe that I have a podcast. It was very hard for me to speak English publicly.
And speaking about hosting a podcast and being a guest at a podcast, does it hit differently?
Yes. When I'm hosting my podcast, I prepare a lot beforehand. But on the podcast, I don't talk so much. I just ask questions. And after that, my guest is speaking like 90% of the time.
I think to you as a host, it's very valuable to feel yourself in your guest's shoes. Like, what do my guests
Totally.
experience while being a guest at my podcast, right?
Yes, yes. And actually, I learned a lot from you. So thank you for this as well.
Good to hear that. And actually, the reasons why you decided to launch the podcast, what were these reasons? Does it, in a way, help you attract more clients or improve your brand awareness?
This is actually very simple. In the age of AI, we have tons of content, but this content is usually written because it's so easy to write a post or, to write an article with AI. We want to be humans, to stay closer to our audience and to show maybe that, yes, we are not perfect. We don't know everything. And we truly interested in things that our guests have to say because we have cool specialists and founders. And yeah, I'm just really curious of talking with these people. This is a pleasure to me. This is also how our potential clients or our audience can educate themselves as well, to be closer and to stay human, I would say.
That's a powerful observation and an insight. I recently wrote a post on LinkedIn saying that, in the era of AI, when everybody uses AI, it's no longer a competitive advantage. What becomes a real competitive advantage is human touch. So we've
Yes,
got to monetize that human touch because it's gonna be new luxury. Human touch is new
it's
luxury.
true. There is actually an interesting trend as well on offline meetings, offline events, networking. You need to be out there, not only by writing some smart posts or articles.
So let's get back to Digital Hunch. Imagine a founder comes to you and says, I don't know how to fix my marketing. What should I start from? What would you tell them?
Actually, just today, I have a podcast episode where we talk a lot about this. And I would say that first, understand your audience. With us or without us, doesn't matter. Try to understand your clients. Why do you have your clients right now? Why they stay with you is the first part. And the second part is why people that come to you don't buy. This is also very important because by understanding what's wrong, like with your product or with your sales process, doesn't matter, you also can gain more traction. If you come to us or to any other agency with a clear understanding of your audience, this will be 100% easier to build the system based on this.
Good advice. Thank you. All right. And to wrap it up, could you please tell us where people can find you, follow you, connect with you, and what exactly should they do if they want to work with you?
Yes, you can find me on LinkedIn. I usually post a couple of times per week my thoughts and some situations from our work or team stories. And if you want to understand more about B2B marketing, we also have a podcast that is called Rebuilding SaaS Marketing, and you can find it on YouTube.
And in the description to this episode. So, on this note, I suggest we wrap it up. I just want to ask you if there is one thing that you want the audience to remember, the people who listen to us right now, what is it? What would it be?
Don't be afraid of making mistakes. And I'm sure that founder's superpower is doing something that scares you and still do it. If you do something for hundreds of times, like, have a call with a client on English, after 10 or 20 times, you're just getting used to it. And after a tense sales pitch or a tense investor pitch, you just gain a lot of confidence.
Yes, thank you so much for this insight. That sounds exactly right. And thank you for coming today. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.